Most Mel players have been building her wrong. Axiom Arcanist is really underrated on a bunch of champs, and Swiftness boots are taking over the meta. We'll be breaking all this down and providing you guys with 10 of the most OP builds for patch S1.3. And as a quick heads up, our subscribers are loving our new daily guides over at SkillCapped for the new season. Whenever our challengers and researchers find new strategies, builds, or basically anything we think will help you climb, we immediately create a guide and upload it that same day. This ensures that you'll get challenger insights the moment they find them, no delays, and you get any questions answered too. We started doing these unedited guides to guarantee our subscribers stay ahead in real time, while the full force of our editors and script writers continue pumping out our premium courses, which take hundreds of hours to make, ensuring that you get the best of daily uploads and our signature premium courses to guarantee you climb this season or your money back. Check us out right after this. One of the most interesting new builds that has popped up over the past patch is Shirelia's Cho'Gath. It's not just the build that is unique either, as the rune page is completely different than what you'd normally run. So first, starting with the build, it's a very movement speed focused setup as you're rushing Shirelia's, going Deadman's Plate second and Force of Nature third. The boots are even different than what you would normally take, as Synchronized Souls are what players are running. So what it really comes down to with this build is that you have such an immense amount of catch power and can actually play Cho'Gath more like an engaged tank. It's extremely easy to close the gap on enemies with this build, so you can get right on top of them, which makes landing your Q so much easier. As for the rune setup, it's Hail of Blades that you will take as the Keystone rune. This setup actually gets even better for this patch due to Hail of Blades getting buffed. You're also grabbing Axiom Arcanist and Ultimate Hunter so that your R cooldown is much shorter, and therefore you can look for catch plays more often. That's what this build is all about, looking for picks on squishies and taking them out with one rotation of spells. The new rune, Axiom Arcanist, is still extremely underrated on a ton of champs, and one of them is Darius. Darius' skirmish power becomes exponentially stronger when he has R available, so the on-takedown cooldown reduction that you get from Axiom is amazing. The alternative option you have if not going for Axiom is Nimbus Cloak. However, we're seeing Axiom Arcanist currently outperforming by 1%. Here's what the full rune page is looking like as you take Conqueror with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, while Axiom Arcanist and Celerity are for secondaries. The standard core build consists of Stridebreaker with Sterix and Deadman's as interchangeable second and third pickups. A jungler who's really strong with Boots of Swiftness right now that not a lot of players are taking advantage of is Kindred. A bunch of high elo players and pros have been liking Swiftness boots on Kindred, as Yike and Broxa are two who have been running them in solo queue. Only about 10% of the entire player base are actually building Swiftness boots on Kindred though, which is quite low for how powerful they are. Across all ranks in S1.2, Swiftness boots on Kindred held a 56% win rate, while the more popular Steel Caps and Greaves were both sitting below 50%. Swiftness boots are just so powerful for this new season because the Swift March upgrade is by far the best boots upgrade in the game, as it gives you so much bonus movement speed. Movement speed on a champ like Kindred, who needs to be very wary of their positioning and how they space in fights, makes the boots even better on them than most champs. So for the build on Kindred, it's Swiftness boots with Trinity Force, the Collector, and Infinity Edge as core pickups. Rune page will consist of Press the Attack with Triumph, Alacrity, and Coup de Grace, while Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter are for secondaries. A jungler who is currently heavily undervalued with the new rune Axiom Arcanist is Warwick. The thing about Arcanist is that it not only provides your R with bonus damage, but it also amps healing and shielding as well. This makes the rune twice as effective on Warwick compared to many other champs because his R does damage and heals him too. So the skirmish power of Warwick becomes even more lethal by taking Axiom Arcanist. The full rune page you should be looking to try consists of Lethal Tempo with Triumph, Alacrity, and Last Stand, followed by Axiom Arcanist and Celerity for secondaries. The build consists of a Stridebreaker rush into Blade of the Ruined King second, and either Speared Visage or Thornmail third. Mel has been looking very strong shortly after her release, however, she'd be even better if players were running the most optimal build. Most Mel players are going Ludens as their rush item, however, it's really underperforming. Ludens with Shadow Flame core does provide you with strong upfront burst power, but that's not really where Mel's kit thrives. Mel is finding way more success right now going for a more ability haste centric build and being able to spam her Q and E out consistently in fights. Mel E is just such a broken teamfight tool, and having that on as short of a cooldown as possible really allows her to thrive in extended fights. So a build that's working really well to enable this right now consists of taking Archangels and Cosmic Drive as core items. You get 50 ability haste from this core as opposed to the measly 10 from going Ludens into Shadow Flame. All the mana from Archangels synergizes very well with the ability haste too, because you can just freely spam out your abilities off cooldown. Leandries is going to be the other core item, as its ramping power works very well with the strong extended fight that this build provides. Archangels is always going to be the rush, however, Cosmic Drive and Leandries can be interchanged as second and third items. If the enemy team is lacking health stackers, then go Cosmic second, but if the enemy comp is already building quite tanky, going Leandries second is a good idea. For Mel's rune page, you will want to be taking Comet with Mana Flow, Transcendence, and Scorch, while Presence of Mind and Coup de Grace are the best secondaries. There's a new Zoe build that has been on the rise in the western regions this season, and it's kind of similar to the build that that we just featured for Mel. Archangels is the rush item, Horizon Focus is second, and then Cosmic Drive is slotted in third. So when compared to the more popular Ludens into Storm Surge build on Zoe, the thing that stands out the most and what really differentiates the builds is how much haste you are getting. This new core build provides Zoe with 75 ability haste, while the more popular build only has 10. This drastically increases the mid to late game pick power of Zoe, as she can be spamming out her E way more often. The straight up one-shot power won't be quite as high, but when you're on 3 items and hit an enemy squishy with E, you honestly overkill them a lot of the time with the standard burst build, so it's not like you won't be able to burst out squishies with this new setup. Having your E on a way shorter cooldown in exchange for a bit less damage is a pretty good trade-off, and the stats are backing this up as well, with Archangels winning 1% more than Ludens as a rush. The rune page to go with this build is going to be unique, as it's airy instead of electrocute. You are also taking Precision Secondary and grabbing the haste rune along with Transcendence to bolster ability haste even further. Earlier on in the video, we covered how powerful Kindred is with Swiftness boots, and another ADC who's super strong with them is Corki. Corki has never really liked going Greaves because he's an ADC who plays more around his rotation of spells to burst instead of sitting there and just autoing enemies to death. Because of this, it's usually been more defensive boots options like SkillCapped and Mercs that have been most popular on Corki. Being more of a shorter ranged ADC though, if you don't take into account his R, that added movement speed you get from Swiftness boots goes a long way. The kiting power of Corki becomes so much better when you go Swiftness boots, and being that Corki's auto range is pretty short, having that added spacing power feels great. Based on the stats right now, Corki players going Swiftness boots are winning 54% of the time as opposed to SteelCaps users who are at 51%. So for Corki's build, you should be taking Trinity Force with Swiftness boots, Manamune, and Rapid Fire Cannon. The rune page revolves around Conqueror with Presence of Mind, Alacrity, and Cutdown, followed by Biscuits and Jack of all trades for secondaries. For the longest time, the Collector had been the best performing rush item on Caitlyn, but that has now changed over the past patch. Buffs to Yuntal Wild Arrows in S1.2 have now propelled the item past the Collector in win rate. Prior to S1.2, the Collector had been winning over 1% more than Yuntal, but after the Yuntal buffs, it's now running about 0.5% more. So Yuntal has gained about 1.5% win rate on Caitlyn due to the buffs, and it is a legitimate rush option now. The main difference between the Collector and Yuntal is that you get way more attack speed with Yuntal, but no lethality. So the upfront power of the Collector is better, but extended fight strength of Yuntal is superior. So in games where you're paired up with an Enchanter support is when going for Yuntal will be most valuable. An Enchanter by your side buffing you up and allowing you to auto attack consistently is where Yuntal will shine through. Vice versa though, if you're paired with a melee engaged support who just wants to go in and burst someone out really fast, that's where the Collector will still have better value. So all in all, don't sleep on Yuntal, Kate moving forward, as it is a really strong pickup in the right situations. Complete core build is Yuntal Rush into Infinity Edge second and Fire Cannon third. Since you're auto attacking at a higher rate with Yuntal as opposed to the Collector, pairing it up with Lethal Tempo for the Keystone Rune is what's going to work best. Support Vel'Koz has a new build that is entirely centered around dropping his R cooldown as low as possible. For a while, it's either been Ludens or Horizon Focus as the rush item on Vel, but priority has been shifting towards Malignance this season. Malignance currently holds the highest win rate for any rush on Vel. The second item you prioritize in the build is Horizon Focus, and with this core, you get 60 ability haste for your R cooldown. For the rune page, you can bolster the R cooldown even further by running Axiom Arcanist and Ultimate Hunter. With Malignance completed, even just using Vel R to chunk enemies out can be a really good strategy. A fully channeled Vel'Koz R is going to deal about 50% of an enemy squishy's health bar, so with all this haste from the build, you can be more aggressive with your usage and not have to worry so much about wasting the spell. A setup that Hector, who's one of our Challenger content creators, is a really big advocate for right now is Axiom Arcanist on Karma. You can honestly run the setup on lane or support Karma, but support is her more popular role right now. For a champ who benefits from both the added damage and added shielding power that Arcanist provides, Karma is one of the best users of the rune. It's actually quite surprising that more players are not taking advantage of the rune though, as at the time of making this video, only 30% of Karma players are running the rune. When compared to the alternative option in Mana Flow Band, it's not even close performance-wise. Axiom is winning 52% of the time as opposed to Mana Flow, which is sitting at 49%. For Karma's full rune page, you should be taking Airy with Axiom Arcanist, Transcendence, and Scorch, followed by Font of Life and Revitalize for secondaries. Build winning the most for Karma support right now consists of running Moonstone into Redemption, while Dreammaker is the item upgrade. This build actually gets indirectly better for this patch as well due to Realm Spike getting nerfed, which is the alternative item upgrade to Dreammaker. Alright guys, one last thing, our rank up guarantee is insane. It's like signing up for the gym and getting a refund if you don't get ripped. That's how confident we are in SkillCapped. We obsess over making the best guides with top players, rigorous testing, and top tier video editing to make your climb easy. If you're ready to level up, visit SkillCapped.com and see the difference. So there you have it everyone, 10 new builds and rune setups that are extremely powerful for patch S1.2. 25.S1.3. Thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you back soon.